Hey everybody, Daryl Lucas here. Had some things in my mind about events that happened the last weekend and felt I couldn't hold it in. First and foremost, in case you missed it, the Washington Post reported on Sunday that the Memphis Police Department significantly lowered its hiring standards in the years before Tyre Nichols was killed, or more accurately, murdered, and did so in a manner that had the effect of making it a lot easier for bad and outright dangerous cops to get on the force. According to the Post, several current and former instructors at the Memphis Police Academy were very concerned about the five officers who now stand charged with murdering Tyre Nichols, in part because they knew that standards had been lowered in a way to make some otherwise unfit recruits get badges. It's a horror story, folks. Recruits were allowed to fail multiple exams and got away with cheating on exams and on fitness tests, and get away with disciplinary violations that otherwise merited dismissal, and even take remedial firearms training when they flunked it. To make matters worse, it seems that for some time these new cops weren't even formally interviewed. Now, one would think that for a job with that much power, that much responsibility, you'd want your standards to be as high as possible, while still making sure there are enough bodies in the force. But as we've seen time and again, in a number of stories involving cops acting badly and even criminally, involve people who shouldn't have even been on the force. You can't blame affirmative action for this either. Remember, Tim Loman, Tamir Rice's killer, was white. It's all the more reason we need to have a national conversation about police standards, because whatever savings these departments may have gotten from lowering their standards, and increase the number of cops in their roles is just not worth the millions in settlements that get paid out whenever for tragedy like what happened to Tyre happened. And I really want to know if the powers in Memphis think that was worth lowering these standards when they now have to pay millions in settlements to Tyre's family. Next up, Silicon Valley Bank. As you may know, it failed over the weekend to do a classic run on the bank. Now, here's a strange thing. This bank was the 15th biggest bank in the country, and I hadn't even heard of it until this past weekend. I looked at the list of large banks, the Federal Reserve website, and Silicon Valley is a lot bigger than several banks that are household names in this country. Now, you would think that if a bank that big, or get that big, we at least know more about it. Maybe it's because I'm an old school journalist, but when a bank is big enough that can have enough influence on policy, the public has a right to know who this bank is and who is running it. What makes matters even worse, it turns out Silicon Valley Bank was one of the driving forces behind the 2018 bank deregulation law that was supposedly intended to give regulatory relief to community banks. Now, how in the world does a bank that primarily provides capital to tech companies and startups get lumped in the same category as mom and pop banks? Had we known who this bank was and to whom it catered, you better believe there would have been a lot more opposition to this, because a bank that caters to the likes of tech startups being in the same category as mom and pop banks is a bad look, to put it mildly. I have more thoughts on this matter on Substack, and in the coming days, hopefully by tonight. But I just felt I had to speak out on it. That is all.